What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Jack Sonic, Eat Vegetables NYC. I'm out here with farmer Courtney from Humble Hill Farm. How's it going, Courtney?
It's good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. So you want to tell us a little bit about what you do here at Humble Hill Farm?
Yeah, I always like to, start out by saying that I'm not actually the one doing all the backbreaking labor. Got to give credit to Farmer Rick for doing all that. I mainly specialize in doing the marketing and helping people discover what to do with the food that we grow. And I do help with the microgreens and some harvest stuff, some washing stuff. But for the most part, I'm not. Yeah, I'm busy with our family. That's the crop I take care of most of all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So what does that look like working with the marketing and your other projects that you have going on?
Yeah, so my main thing is I like to create useful tools for people. So I like to think in terms of like architecture, kind of building that framework, that solid blueprint, so then people can kind of plug in the different pieces however they like, but just to kind of help make it clear, to lay it out. And so I like to do that more so than recipes. Like a lot of times people are like, oh, what's the recipe for that? And not that I don't like recipes and they're not useful. It's just... To me, I feel like that's like midway through the process, there's a lot more that comes before that. So I like all that foundational stuff.
Yeah, cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit about one of the projects that you have going on then?
Yeah, so I have this new price list project, I guess, for lack of a better title. It'll have some kind of spiffy title, but it's going to live on our website, and it's pretty lean financially doing the farming. It's not exactly, if you want to be rich, most people don't become farmers. So we were going through some lean economic times personally. And so I am really determined and tenacious like a badger. And I wasn't going to feed my own kids GMO foods and whatnot because we're out here hustling, trying to make it work. And we can't make ends meet on that, that front. So I did this deep dive because I had more time than I had money into the 7 locations that you can get organics in the Ithaca area. And I created a spreadsheet where I tracked all the different prices on what we eat. So the list isn't a comprehensive thing of everything because we don't eat everything. Yeah. So it's biased in that way, but to just help people see where they can get the best deals on organics and then they'll have more money to shop at the farmer's market. And that was kind of something that's been taking up a lot of my time and just a lot of my heart because I feel like it's really important for families to be able to cook.
Definitely, yeah, that's wonderful, yeah. And so that's going to be on your website soon? Cool,
yeah.
So that's a really great resource.
Up on the website, and then it's going to be followed up. The conversation is going to continue on our podcast.
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful. So you guys have a podcast going on?
Yeah, it's about to drop. Hopefully, it'll be up and ready by the time this hits. But that's called Nothing But Ingredients.
Ooh.
Because that's a famous cry from my kitchen, from my kids. Even when we do have an abundance of stocked food ready in the kitchen, it's still just ingredients. And so they're like, there's nothing to eat but ingredients. What is going on? And I'm like, yo, there's hundreds of dollars worth of food in the house. But not for them, you gotta cook it. And we don't have a microwave. We don't have some of the things that they didn't even grow up with that, but they see that, now that they're older. So just trying to make it.
So what can people look forward to hearing on this podcast about Nothing But Ingredients?
So it's like a deep dive into the price list project process, kind of like it's a little bit of a backstory of the journey of kind of how I got there, and then just breaking down the different internal judgments that I had about these different establishments that I went to, because I was a pretty diehard local business shopper.
Yeah,
I would go from the vendor selling personal business, local farmers market to the member-owned co-op, in town. And those were pretty much like the places that I went to. And so, it was it took a lot for me to be like, all right, I'm stepping in to Walmart. I'm going to look. And it's not a thing that I enjoy. So that's one of the things, that's one of the topics that I talk about. But then breaking down kind of the whole cycle of realization that I had with doing that. And then also just then we're going to do some taste tests. So my son, who's crashed a lot of my YouTube videos in his younger years, he's gonna really head up the taste test segment.
Awesome.
So while that doesn't necessarily lend itself to podcast content, like we'll share the results on the on the blog and on the podcast, but we'll do some YouTube clips of that. It'll be on Instagram. We're trying to, not spread ourselves too thin, but, share a little bit about that. And then we'll talk about all the different ingredients, all the different things, not so much like food investigative style, like what's wrong with food, because I think that there's a lot of people out there doing a really excellent job of that. And that's not necessarily my area of expertise. It's more like once you get what you've already vetted is what you want in your life and on your list. How do you make that into something that you can afford and that your people will love, so.
Wonderful. Well, that's great. That sounds like a lot of great work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're really keeping busy.
I need to really, rein it in. I'm definitely big on vision, ideas, and execution kind of, and then follow through. I'm pretty challenged.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
pray for me.
That's the hard part. Yeah. Everyone pray
I need
No,
those
but that's
vibes.
great. So is there anything else you want to share with the people out there? Let people know what's going on, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to see everybody, down at the farmers market, and I'm always interested to know, like, with the, everyone living on their phones, good or bad, no judgment of that, but just that's the way, like, what kind of tools, like, what would serve people? What do they need? Because like I feel like CSA has kind of like had its coming, and it might be kind of waning at this point. And then like, so I'm interested to see like what's going to develop as far as like, for farms like us, that you could be like, oh, I want lettuce, microgreens, this, that, and place an order and then have some kind of transaction, whether that's just like on a Friday night in a certain location and just like a half an hour easy drop off, pick up. I don't know. So yeah, I'd like to hear from people like what are the obstacles to getting to market, and why don't they shop there? Because I feel like, we as vendors, like we just keep doing it, and it's so many challenges to even grow the food and then to get it there. And so innovation for us is going to be the biggest lag, whereas like the consumer definitely would have some insight onto like, because like I actually, part of the project is that I worked off the farm at Sunbeam Candles, so like another local business. But I actually hadn't really ever had the experience of having to hustle like with a family and then having to hustle full-time work also and make good food. So it gave me like tremendous insight into why, people don't cook and like why they don't shop at the market. And like, it's just, trying to get it on the table. And then, so yeah, just, there's just a lot I feel like that can be done, and farmers aren't necessarily the ones that are going to bring it, but we could connect with other partners who are going to bring it. Yeah.
Cool. That's great. Well, it's really great being out here. Thank you for having us and letting us know what's going on. Keep up the great work, Courtney.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's good to check out what you got going on.
Yeah. So make sure to check out Courtney's podcast coming out soon, and the Humble Hill website. They have a lot of exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah, it'll all be linked on humblehill.com.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, y'all. Eat vegetables.